Hello, kiddies. Well, to quick make some noise. Today we're going to be looking at a new plugin from D16, the Godfazer Advanced Modulation unit. So what have we been playing with? Well, first it's confession time. I actually have already did this video, but I don't find D16 interfaces the easiest to figure out, I'll be honest. They're a little counterintuitive. So the video ended up being about an hour long, and at least 35 minutes of it was me going, what? So that would have been kind of dull. So we're going to sort of start again. So here's one I prepared earlier. And we've got ourselves a hip-hop Rhodes loop, and some drums called cruising drums. I don't know what type of cruising these drums are for. I'm not making any judgments. It's a lifestyle choice. That's your business. So let's have a listen, shall we? Let's go in. I'll tell you what. Well, let's bypass the plugins. This is what we start with. Kind of cool. And these are just cue-based loops. And then with the plugins, and it's just the Godfazer. Alright, so let's have a look at the piano. I've got some auto going on here. Let's just pause the auto. Okay, so here's the piano. Open up this. Oh no. This. Okay, so here's the Godfazer. Let's just do it in bypass. So you'll notice that the interface is huge. It can get even huger. Oh my god. It's like that ship at the beginning of Spaceballs. It just keeps on going, look. I think you need a bigger TV. And with these you can change the size. So you go down right down to small, which is probably how you'll use it every day, but since we're doing this for television, as it were, out there in YouTube land, we'll use this. So let's put the thing back in. If you want to use the presets, then click up here on the display, and you get all the different wacky-tastic presets. And then you can either click on here and get the chorus effects. If you click again, you get the chorus and the assembly effects. You get like simple or animated, band split, blah, blah, blah. And then click back there and they disappear. We have some setup options. So processing quality, which for now we'll leave on normal because I've got my audio interface running on a quick latency setting. But you've got two different settings. Ultra, when high is not quite enough and you need that ultra. If parameters would change, show warning before loading. It's probably a good thing to have that. And then that's if you want to create a map MIDI CC is if we want to create a control unit for it. So if you've got like a fader port or something like that, or I have one of these Nectar Impact keyboards, which I never actually use for that. And then that's another way to control the interface size. So good thing is going on. So let's just stop it for a moment. Right. So here's the massively counterintuitive interface. We have ensemble, multi-filter, and modulator. And both multi-filter and modulator have 2 of each. Yeah. And then the routing all of this is controlled over here, which actually is kind of annoying. The routing should probably be here, because that's a bit more intuitive. Because otherwise you're sat here messing about with this stuff and not really realizing what's going on. So you can change the routing options from having it starting with the ensemble and then using the two filters in parallel, like this. Or you can have them in series, like this, or serial. Is that series? Not series. Mixed. Or you can have it like this, where the signal is going to come in and go to the filters and the ensemble separately, blah, 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 blah. So lots of different options. You have a wet-dry effect on all the effect sides, and then you have wet-dry specifically for the ensemble. And then by clicking up here, you can select different options from chorus, different types of chorus, fat and neutral, fat and wide, chorus spacey. I can't think of any Kevy spacey jokes that would be remotely appropriate, so we won't go there. Panna, rotary, etc., etc. And then here we have, again, you have loads of different filter options, mainly phaser options, but there's also the format filter and EQ and stuff like that. And then the same lot again on the second mode. Yes, on the second one, the second filter ballot. And on the modulator, you've got constant, LFO, follower, and sequencer. Which you'll either be familiar with these things or not, depending on how much you've used synths and things. My advice is just to mess about with them and see what happens. So let's kick it off again. So we're doing a bunch of things. If I blend this out. So you expect you can affect the speed of it. It's a bit of a shame you can't do this in sync and do it by beat numbers, but apparently you can't. But you can tune it by ear. And then we have the different effects here, where you can target the specific frequency that you're trying to hit, the amount of emphasis, and how the modulation is moving about. You can also invert it. It's kind of fun. And you've got a middle and side option. Now with that off, you're panning left and right. So for example, if I do this and pan also that way, and then do that, you can hear some of the one filter effect on one side and the other filter effect on the other side. If we go back to middle and sides, so what we're doing is we're pushing this one a little bit towards the middle and this one a little bit to the side. And that way we're creating that slight distinction so it's easier to hear the two of them, which is kind of cool. This follow effect is very cool. Turn the sensitivity up. number 2. Let's go to the file on number 2. Yes. It's giving this real flavor. We have LFO options and things. You can click here and change the waveforms. So for example, we go for this. Get a much more kind of digital effect. So it's kind of cool. Alright, so let's have a look at what we've been doing with the auto. So we've been automating filter 1, modulator amounts, and filter 2, mod 1. So filter 1. So let's put that back in. You can see we're just moving that about. Let's see if we can get these things on screen. Let's go for a small graphic. Okay, that's still probably won't help. There we go. Oh, there we go. So we can see we're modulating it here, and this should move about. Right, and then what we're also going to do is we're going to modulate on here as well. And this is in perpetual motion. Yeah. So if we do this without that, put the auto back in. And it's just varying that kind of texture, moving it about a bit. It's kind of cool. You'd probably want to blend some of this down a bit, I guess. That's quite nice there. If we put it for wet, it's a little bit over the top. Probably come back down. It's cool. So we take it out. Let's see. This is without it. It's not too bad. It's pretty cool. In fact. So got a little bit of flavor there. All right, so let's have a listen to the drums. Over at the old Godfazer. So, okay, let's start by bringing. Just a minute. Let's start by getting my brain engaged. So I'm just gonna pause all the auto. Okay, so let's bring in the effect in without any auto. Oh yeah, that's messing it up. So what are we doing with this? We're doing nothing with this. This is in bypass. And then what we got? We've got a phaser on here. And you can, it's interesting because you can really pick out parts of the drum kit. We go down here. Bring out the thump. And then the second one, we've got format. Same kind of deal. I've got a bit of middle side going on. We're using this follow effect. So I'll play with that. Let's see what these do. Alright, and then we've got the routing a little bit different with this one. We've actually got it so we've got some of the clean signal going through. If I were to put it, say, on this, now you're not getting so much of that. And I think if we go, yeah, this one, then you're getting all the filter bank one. So we're getting some of the drum back in. Play the wet dry. We'll keep it full wet for now so we can hear it more easily. Alright, so let's have a look at some of the auto. So what are we doing here? We have got filter 1, mod 1 amount. So that is this little chap. So we're gonna automate that. Let's see what that does to it. So if I put this on a small one of these. So we've got a little bit of auto going on here. Subtle. Let's take it out. Let's put it back in. Oh yeah, flick it about. And then we're automating the second modulator as well. They're pretty much doing the same thing in terms of shape. So let's put that in. So we're going to modulate this one as well. Auto this one. It's a little washy, that actually. Let's have a look. See if we can improve that. It doesn't seem to be working so well. So let's have a look. What's going on? Let's part this out of the way for a minute. Just do that. Okay. So, quite often with effects, there's kind of like a sweet spot or a kind of a sweet range where they work well and you get a lot back. And then as you get to the extremes of them, you sort of lose the effectiveness depending on the kind of EQ range of the instrument that you're working with. Particularly true with kind of EQ filters, like band passes and things like that. So it's a good idea to try and find that. Or you can do what I did, which was just, go nuts and see what happens. So we're going to try and kind of pull this in a bit. So let's put it back on. And we're going to do that. All right, I don't care about that bit. And let me just I should probably do that. Yeah. So let's see what we can do. I think I want one of the problems here is that depending on the VST instrument, sometimes when you move the automation, the dial will move in real time. Sometimes you have to play it before the dial will move, which is a bit of a pain in the balls, like in this case. So that's where I want it. But say, for example, I move that. The dial doesn't move. Now it moves, if I move back to the start. So I have to sort of... Okay. So I kind of want those bits, I think. These little guys right here. I want them to be around there-ish. So now I'm kind of working around that central point. And then what I'm going to do is take these really extreme ones down a bit. We probably don't need as much as that even. So let's bring them down. Touch more. Okay, that's kind of cool. And I'm going to look at these guys right here. Okay. What am I doing? Let's bring those guys up like that, maybe. Let's see what that does. So look in here. That's not too bad. So now we've got a little bit more body in the signal. That's kind of cool. Right. So now what are we doing with auto? We've got a second filter, and we're going to be modulating the first amount, and we're also going to be modulating something over here, or automating something over here. So let's look at this one first. So you can see it's very gradual change. Let's just listen quickly without. So let's put it in. And then we're doing this as well. We're actually modulating the attack on the follower. So we're going to modulate this sucker right here. So let's see what that's doing to it. Okay, let's see what we can do with that. Let's have a look. Put them back on. I think it's probably a little fast the way it is right now. So let's see. What are we up to? Let's move that out of the way for a minute. Okay, so we've got okay. So we're going to lock the modulation, and we'll get rid of the second half. And then we're going to move this lot to here. We're going to move this little guy to there, I think. And we're going to move this little guy to here. And then this little guy's going over here. Wrong side. And then we'll do the same thing here. So that means bring this guy all the way over here. There are probably quicker ways to do this, cleverer ways. If you know a quicker, clever way, answer us on a postcard to P.O. Box. I'm a Smarty Pants, 25 Smarty Pants Avenue, Smarty Pant Lands. So what we've done is we've just made that a little slower, and let's see how that is. It's kind of cool. This one here, this second auto here, I'm not so sure about either. This one, so where we're modulating this guy. It's kind of cool. Let's see what happens if we do it now. No, the automation's the same, we just shift the frequency. Okay, so let's hear the drums without the plugin. Cruising. Much more cruising, funky cruising. So take the wet dry out, blend it back in. Yeah. Yeah. So let's go back onto this screen. We're going to mute that, bypass the two. So this is what we start with. Let's drop some effects in. D16 Godfazer. Good night, good noise.